You know, I get so tired of these Trump Kool-Aid drinkers talking such bullshit about Donald Trump. Donald Trump lies like a goddamn rug, okay? And pretty much, I guess he believes all the lies that he tells. Because I guess anytime you tell a lie long enough, you damn sure are going to get some people that are going to believe it. Donald Trump has not accomplished shit in his first 30 days. Now, he wants to blame a lot of things on Obama and how he inherited a mess, how the Democrats are blocking his people from being confirmed, etc. Let me put a couple of things to rest for you. Donald Trump did not inherit a mess. Okay, that's number one. If you want to see what the definition of a mess is, all you need to do is look back 8 years and look at the economy that was getting ready to tank. General Motors was getting ready to go out of business. The banking industry was collapsing. The American economy was going to hell in a handbasket. Now, you may not agree with all of the steps that Obama took, okay? But one thing is for damn sure. He, along with Congress, let me not say he did it by himself because he didn't, but he, along with Congress, basically injected $1 trillion into the economy, which stabilized the economy. It stabilized our banking industry that was going in the toilet. It saved General Motors from going out of business, basically, because that's probably what would have happened, and it would have been a cascading effect throughout our economy. It helped somewhat the housing industry. The fucking banks decided that they were not going to utilize all the monies that were available to them to do refis and get people out from under when they were underwater on their mortgages. They basically did shut down the capital markets so that even with AAA credit, a regular person could not go into a bank and get a loan. So as far as what they wanted to happen or hoped would happen once they injected all of that money into the economy, yeah, it didn't have all of the desired effects, but it damn sure did save us from going into a major, not just recession, depression. Now, let me, that was just one of the things that Obama did. He also, in his first 30 days, along with Congress, created the child health insurance laws so that approximately 14 million children now had health insurance. In my mind, a major accomplishment. One of the other things he did was he signed into law the Lilly Ledbetter law, which stopped discrimination and unkempt, untoward labor practices, i.e., women now had the right to go back and sue if it was shown that they were discriminated against as far as the wages that they were earning was concerned. So that if a woman was doing the same job as a man, she had the right to go after her employer if he discriminated against her by offering her or paying her, less money. That in itself, you can look at that either way. But those are the main things that Obama did in his first 30 days. He saved the goddamn U.S. economy. Now, let's review what Donald Trump has done in his first 30 days. He's done a lot of talking to executives and labor unions and damn near everybody else, and I do mean talking. He's taken a lot of photo ops in the White House where he was talking to people, but that's all it was talk. He signed several, I think it's approximately 20, it was 9 and 11 I believe, 9 executive orders and 11 executive memorandums. What did they do? They basically were reviews of laws. They were confirmation of practices currently in effect, or they were asking for plans to take certain actions. Now, for all of you coal miners out there, the law that he signed to quote unquote reduce regulations in the coal mining industry, that particular executive order that he signed, relaxing the rules in the coal mining industry, that did not help you guys so necessarily. But what it did do was it allowed your coal mines to be able to pollute our rivers and streams with the waste products from mining coal. So you may feel like you can get in there and do more work, and it might quote unquote be somewhat profitable, but you basically have fucked your fellow Americans by being able to pollute our rivers and streams. So I don't call that a positive. The one major thing he did that he totally fucked up on was that executive order, which was in all actuality not just a travel ban, it was a Muslim ban. And the courts checked his ass on that one to the point that although he will not publicly admit defeat or even say that he lost, funny thing about it, they went back to the courts to ask them to vacate their decision so that he could turn around and rescind that order and issue a new order next week, now that he has a basic blueprint on what he needs to do in order to pass judicial muster. Now, let's tell you really what he didn't do. Donald Trump said in his first couple of days he was going to accomplish the following. He was going to label China a currency manipulator. He hasn't done that. He was going to push for term limits on Congress. He hasn't done that. He was going to get rid of gun-free zones. He hasn't done that. He was going to begin working on revamping the tax code. He hasn't even begun discussions with Congress on that. All he's basically done is talk and tweet and attack the press, Muslims, the judiciary, and damn near everybody else other than white males in this country. Let me tell you what else he hasn't done. He hasn't filled 600 spots in the various departments. Those spots are deputy secretaries, undersecretaries, and assistant secretaries. There's 600 spots that he hasn't even placed any names into nominations for those spots, so that at least the confirmation process can begin. Now, he claims that he's got, or his administration is a well-oiled machine. You tell me what well-tuned machine can operate with 600 missing parts. That's a bunch of bullshit. Now, he has done a couple of things that are noteworthy that pretty much no other president has done. He succeeded in pissing off damn near every ally that we have in one matter or another, and kissed up to our more than likely either number one or number two adversary in the world, Vladimir Putin. Let me tell you what else has gone down that is not getting a lot of pub. When Benjamin Netanyahu came in to the country last year, disrespecting President Obama because he went not directly to President Obama, but he went to Congress to ask for an invitation to speak before them. That was a violation of protocol. He went before Congress and railed against the Iranian nuclear deal. Well, the funny thing about that deal was that his own military liked the deal. They liked what they saw. And he begged Congress not to go along with the deal. Well, guess what? We signed off on the deal, and it's a year later. According to all of the people that are monitoring the deal, Iran has fulfilled every obligation that they have under the deal. They've gotten rid of a lot of their nuclear fuel. They've shut down reactors. They've gotten rid of various other pieces of equipment. They're down to approximately 3% of the uranium reserves and processed materials that they had from approximately a year ago. And that's basically just enough for them to power anything within their medical fields. Now, it's not a secret that Benjamin Netanyahu is a fucking racist. And they're always talking about the Holocaust, but Mr. Netanyahu has a policy that, in my opinion, is genocidal. The Ethiopian Jews, which are black and which reside in Israel, whenever there is a issue as far as Planned Parenthood, i.e. birth control, they use a procedure that basically sterilizes the black Ethiopian females. Now, you don't have to believe me. That piece is documented. No ifs, ands, or buts. So, but that being said, when Mr. Netanyahu came into the country last year, talking to Congress, he claimed that Israel was at risk from the deal. Israel was never at risk from the deal. Number one, Israel is sitting on a nuclear arsenal, and they can hit Tehran as easily as they can yawn. So, number one, they had that as obviously a fallback defensive position. They could knock out Tehran in the blink of an eye. The whole problem with Israel and Iran was Israel was trying to get Iran knocked down by various countries throughout the region and the European allies that we were involved in. Because Israel, as some other Middle Eastern countries, feared that Iran was becoming a power in the region, which actually they have become more of a power in the region. At that press conference that Mr. Netanyahu and Donald Trump had, Mr. Netanyahu was asked what he would do to improve the deal that he had railed against. Funny thing about it, he ignored the question. Donald Trump also, when he talks about that deal being the worst deal in history, is also asked how come he hasn't torn up the deal as he promised to do on the campaign trail. When asked that question, all of a sudden all you get is crickets. We got that deal done. President Obama got that deal done. The world is a safer place in regard to nuclear proliferation, and not a shot was fired. Now, obviously, we got a problem with North Korea, and honestly, I do not know how that one's going to turn out. But my assumption is if China doesn't do something about them and do something about them within the next year or two, the problem's going to come to a head, and we're going to end up having to do something. What that something is, I shudder to think about it. But back to my original premise, Donald Trump needs to stop flapping his gums, talking about all of his great accomplishments, because honestly, he hasn't accomplished anything.